Hello everyone and welcome back to F1 TS Hub live on a Friday night. We are here for the Pinnacle tier, the fastest of them all at F1 TS Hub, and we are in Baku for round 8 of the Season 10 Championship. I am alongside with my former teammate and former title winner Jono. Jono, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good, thanks Nick. Glad to be here and looking forward to an exciting session.
Yes, quick mention to Alan, who was meant to be commentating with us tonight. Unfortunately, he's been taken ill, so we wish him all the best and hope he feels better as soon as possible. We only have 13 drivers plus, I believe, cobblers who just joined after quali, so I don't think he'll be able to take part in this session. So 14 drivers look set to line up on the grid, 13 look set to take to this challenging track for this short qualifying session. We only have, of course, just over 10 minutes left already, and this is a long lap, so we expect everyone to want to go out and at least get a banker lap in. Go Tony, just to mention, has a qualifying ban from his incident in Monaco. This is his next available race where he was able to serve the ban, so he won't be able to take part in qualifying, but he will be there for the race. And starting down the back here, Jono, perhaps isn't the worst thing after what we saw in the podium tier.
Yeah, absolutely. As usual on these street circuits, you either want to be at the front of the grid, or to be honest, you better be at the back, letting chaos ensue in front of you, and then picking off the positions as you try and make your way to the front. I'm on board with Odems at the moment, who looks like he's first to about to start his flying lap.
Excellent stuff. Yeah, as we said, it's a challenging lap here. I don't think myself and you ever qualified in the top 3 here, Jono, when we did it in Season 8. So we shouldn't exactly be giving advice on how best to go around here, but Odems, we know, is quick on time trial. Can he replicate that here? Lewis, who debuted last week, got pole position in his first race. He slipped down the order and didn't have the cleanest of races, but he still did score some solid points and definitely something to build upon. We've got Sophie, who is new to league in the Sauber, so welcome to her tonight. She's our first female driver in F1 TS Hub, so it's fantastic to have her here. Seeing a little bit of lag in some of these cars, but Cliffy's in the pits, and so is Cliffy's left the session, so I'm not sure what's going on there, but hopefully he can get back in. Odems is on a quick lap.
I'm on board with Odems as his car's lagging about a lot, but from what it looks like to me, he's had a few lockups. He's braked a bit late for turn 1 and for turn 3, I think it was as well. So it looks slightly scruffy that by looking at from Odems at the moment.
Yeah, it's it'll be interesting to see what he can do, because of course this is the first flying lap. It's the one you want to get on the board. He was quick through the castle section there. He was leaving nothing on the table. So Lewis is on the soft tyre. He's the only driver on the soft. Everyone else is on the super. Cliffy is reporting wheel issues, so we hope that he's going to be able to reset and get back in the lobby so he can get a time on the board. But yeah, himself and Jor are in the pits now, so Jor's abandoned his outlap. We'll ride on board through this final couple of corners with Odems, and then we'll see what time he can do. Pole position in the podium tier earlier, Jono, was a 1:41.3, so let's see what these quick guys can do.
That's it, he's sat there now, foot to the floor, just urging that line to come up. It's such a long run here to that start finish line. He's about to cross it now. And what's he done? He's done a 40.8 by the look of it. Yeah,
Sean's already beaten that with a 40.4. Lewis on the soft tyre is only 6 tenths off the provisional pole, so he's definitely got some time to gain if and when he straps on those supers. Jor's come back out on the soft, so he obviously feels that's the tyre he wants to try and qualify on. MLA now takes the top spot by 1/10 of a second over his teammate. James Slater slots into 5th position, and Sophie is currently in 6th. Cliffy, I haven't seen a message to say he's got back in, but we are reporting that perhaps there are a few lag issues in this lobby.
And B-Staff's just about to cross the line as well. What's he done? Just 1 second. Ooh, that's very close between MLA and B-Staff.
Yeah, not a lot between those two currently on the front row. he will run out of fuel. Bisas, he's only got enough for a quarter of a lap, just over, so he'll be crawling back to the pits. And Sean is also coming back to the pits. Odems, I think, is going to go for another quad lap. He jumps over the curb there, so he might abandon this one. Let's see his delta time at the end of sector 2. He is up a temp, so he's either going to yeah, he is. He's either going to finish this or pit now and try and do 2 laps on the next set. Depends how much you're up. Yellow flags in sector 1 and 2. Such a long straight this is, Jono.
Oh, it is. It's never ending. His DRS is open now, and then you just sit and wait. Oh no, he's boxing. He's boxing. That'll take off too much time, that mistake there in the first sector.
Yeah.
So he's going to bottom a new set of tyres. As you say, the session being so short, it's only less than 6 minutes left now. It would have been a long lap. You've got to decide there whether to bail and pit or go on. If you go on and you don't improve by much, you could regret it.
Yeah, definitely. So we are on board with Clifford's Red now. He's going through this fast left right-hander, which drivers were struggling with earlier in the podium tier. They kept clipping the wall, either the right-hand side or the left-hand side. What's Clifford going to do? He's coming into the pits as well. So Bisas is also coming into the pits, so is MLA. So we're going to have a bit of a quiet couple of minutes whilst these drivers get back out and get their tyres warmed up again.
That's it. It's going to be do or die now. They've got to leave nothing on the table. Yeah, MLA entering the pits as well. Bisas looks like he's out. I think he's won first, as you say, to the pit previously. Or was he out of fuel and still crawling back?
Bisas is out of fuel on low fuel mode and crawling back. He's just coming into yeah. So he ran that car to its lowest possible.
That was either a misjudgment or he just felt the lap was so good he didn't want to pit, but it didn't get him pole, and now he'll be agonisingly looking at that clock as he pulls back at, what is it, 50 miles per hour.
Yes, we've got Sarah having yet to set a time, so he'll have the track all to himself very shortly when Bisas makes his way into the pits. They've edited the curbs, Jono, where they're quite bumpy and quite sausagey, so that it's almost like you don't want to take too much of some of them, because as we saw with Odems, it just throws him off, throws the car off balance.
Yeah, you want to run it as close as you can, but like you say, you just can't afford, with only having 2 or 3 flying laps in the session, you cannot afford to risk all and run over those curves. You've got to give them a wide berth, the ones that you've hopefully learned are dangerous from your practice sessions. You know which ones you can ride and which ones you've got to keep away from.
Yeah, this is definitely a track you need to practice, need to build up on. Sam is going to start his flying lap very shortly. He might have some drivers to pass on that flying lap, because we're seeing a lot of guys come out for their out laps. So he'll need to catch them in the right part of the track to avoid losing too much time. Pole position, it's only separated by under half a tenth. Sean is very close there as well. He's just coming out the pits now. TS Odems is only under half a second off, and Clifford's Red is just shy of that. Lewis, as you mentioned, did set his time on the soft, but he is he gets close to the wall there, does Sam.
Doesn't bother Odems. He clipped that curb again as he did before and upset the car again. He's just coming around the last corner now onto that long straight, but it definitely lost some time on the exit of that corner on that curb.
Is he on a hot lap now? No, I think he's on
he's
an
just
out lap
to start, that's it.
So here he goes. He's currently on a 40.8. What can he do? Both Red Bulls yet to set a time. Go Tony, as we mentioned, has qualifying ban, so he'll be unable to participate in this qualifying session. Cobblers is waiting on the side to get back in for the race. His internet issues meant that he was unable to participate in quali. Cliffy, I'm not sure whether he's got back in. He is out on track, I believe, so he's got some catching up to do. He is in the first sector in his Haas. Let's keep an eye on his delta time and see what he can do.
Yeah, I'm going to stay on board with this lap. He really has got pressure on now. He's got to make this lap count. But we know from the past that Cliffy is capable of going out there and delivering amazing laps straight off. So we'll see what he can do.
Yeah, he's got some traffic in front of him who's kindly moved out the way. That's the second or third time I've seen some traffic move out the way as kindly as they can. So well done to these Pinnacle boys and girl for doing that. Very close to the wall there, very close.
Yeah, he didn't actually touch it on my screen at least.
I think he might have got wing damage actually, Jono.
Yeah,
there appears to be
I think so.
a little bit of end plate damage, so this is going to affect his lap. Everyone is now out on track except for Jaw.
Really committed into there, Cliffy. It's like you say, he's got the wing damage, and he has understeered out of that corner there. That did look like it cost him a little bit. Now he's just got to sit and see what he can cross the line in.
Under a minute left, he'll get another chance at this if he's got enough fuel, but the wing damage won't help. Let's keep an eye on the times because other drivers are on quick laps.
I think that wing damage means he has to make this lap count. I think over the whole lap next time round it could cost him too much time.
And he goes third. Just
good lap in the end.
Yeah,
Very
so
close.
these guys are really on the finest of margins, Jono, over one of the longest tracks on the calendar. It has to be said they are driving very similar. Odems has retired from the sessions. What's happened to him? He's lost his wing. And he's called it a day, so he is the first driver to not be able to participate any further. What can the rest of these guys do? Sean is on just starting his lap now. Cliffy is on another hot lap. Beast Haas is just starting his lap. MLA is on a hot lap already. We still got Clifford Lewis as well, who's yet to set a time on the supers as the qualifying time finishes. All those who are on a quick lap, Jono, can now set a time.
Yeah, they can. This is it. All the drivers.
Clifford's red goes fastest, so he beats all of his rivals. Fantastic lap from him, just ahead of MLA. What can the Mercedes driver do? He's in our seat, Jono, so we'd expect nothing less than to see that Mercedes on pole, as we used to put it every week on a Friday night.
Yeah, stretching the truth a little bit there, but yeah, he's certainly in the mix. He's very, very close to that pole position already. Just needs a tiny, tiny improvement.
Here we go, riding on board with MLA. He's about to cross the line. It's enough. He takes it by 2 attempts.
By a margin, yeah.
Yeah, what can Bisas, Cliffy, Sean do? James Slater is also on a hot lap. Everyone else has finished the session, so we have got
Cliffy's about to cross the line.
Yeah, Lewis as well. Cliffy takes pole.
Whoa, that's brilliant. That is a brilliant lap from Cliffy.
If he had wing damage, that is a fantastic lap with 39.9. MLA can improve from there. Bisas, what can he do? What can Sean do as well? And then we've got Lewis, who was our last week pole sitter in Canada.
Wow, it's changing quick here. People improving by quite a lot on their final runs here. They're unleashing it with some big gains.
I can see the Mercedes in the background going down the straight. Who's just Bisas has completed his time. He's setting in third.
Yeah.
Lewis goes fourth. He jumps up. So Clifford Red, the first driver to cross the line, took pole. Yeah. Everyone else has gone quicker. And Sean comes into the pits. So he calls it a day on his lap. And wow, what a session that was. And pole position for Cliffy. Fantastic performance from him.
Really, really impressive. We know he's quick here from season 8. We know he's got the pace. I think he had pole position then as well. But he had to deliver that there. Pressure, it throws you off having to disconnect or whenever he had a wheel issue. It just throws your concentration, but he was able to get straight back on it and deliver pole.
Okay, then we'll just quickly run through the order. Cliffy in first, MLA in second, Bisas in third, Lewis in fourth, Clifford's Red in fifth. Good result for him. Sean in sixth, Odems in seventh, James in eighth, ninth is Sophie, 10th is Sam, Enika is 11th, Jor is 12th, and Go Tony, who served qualifying ban, is 13th. Cobblers didn't take part, but he is in the session, I'm hearing, so he will start in 14th position. This is going to be a difficult race for some of these guys. It looks to be sunny to me, so no rain. I know you wish for rain off air, Jono. Looks to be a dry one today.
Yeah, it does. It seems to be dry here most of the time, but a bit of rain here would have really spiced things up. But looking at Odems there down in 7th, he's going to be disappointed with that. We know he's got a great pace here, certainly over one lap in time trial, and you know, I think he expected to be further up the grid. He's probably in one of the worst positions you could actually be there, right in the middle of the pack as they go into turn 1.
Yeah, definitely. This is a track that, as we mentioned earlier, has always caused incidents into turn 1. But we'll see what these Pinnacle drivers can do. Hopefully they can keep it clean. We do only have 14 drivers, so a bit disappointing for some of those who haven't attended, and I'm sure we'll be in contact with them if they failed to give their absence to MLA, the tier coordinator. We have a formation lap, so we will get that underway immediately, and let's just get our spectator menu set up. Jono, we're looking at a one stop here onto the soft tyre or the medium tyre. So safety car, we got to hope for one of those just to try and spice things up, but it's been a bit of breath of fresh air to have Cliffy back and being able to challenge the Mercedes and BSAS, who were kind of stealing the show in terms of being at the front of the pack in the early part of the season.
Oh yeah, it's definitely great to have him here. He's instantly put himself right amongst the top quickest drivers in the league, and I'm sure he's going to have plenty of good results for the remainder of the season. There have only been 13 or 14 runners. It might be sort of disappointing for us watching, but I'm sure the drivers in the cars will be pretty pleased with that. They know that finishing gives them a really, really good chance of points here today now, and hopefully that'll mean we get some good fair racing, and yeah, looking forward to the race.
Sam has left the session. Hopefully he can get back in before we get underway with the lights, so that he'll be able to give his Force India a good run round. We've got Cobblers and James Slater, it says they're disqualified. That is only on the formation lap. We'll take this time to quickly give you guys a link to the website if anyone is interested in signing up to Season 10, www.f1tshub.com. We've also got on Twitter at F1TSHub, we've got live race updates throughout the week, and of course on our Thursday media days, which are proving to be a hit with the drivers. Lots of features and different columns and things for the drivers to do on there. Yeah, we're seeing that. I'm seeing on my screen, Jono, that the lobby is a little bit laggy. Yeah,
definitely I am as well, and sure that'll be in some of the drivers' minds as well as they start this race, hoping that the connection holds up. Because with the walls close by here, you don't want cars lagging around you on track at a track like this.
Sam keeps getting in, but then keeps getting kicked out again. He's joined. Can he stay in? Fingers crossed for him. We are lining up on the grid, so let's wait for these last cars. Sam seems to be in. Hopefully, let's have a quick flick over to his car and see if he's ghosting at the moment, so not too sure whether he's there or not, but nevertheless we are about to get underway for the Pinnacle tier at 9 PM. These guys and girl are going to be looking for a good result here. Into the first corner, here we come. 5 lights are about to go out for round 8 Baku. It looks to be a bit of a delayed start on my screen, not sure if there was any lag there, but Cliffy gets away well. The Mercedes is challenging, they touch. BSAS then comes into contact and steals the lead.
He does. That was, MLA did have the inside line there. I think he was entitled to go for that move, and perhaps Cliffy just held on around the outside a little bit too long and they both suffered from it.
Yeah, definitely. So Beast has benefited major from that, but Cliffy is on the back of Lewis, who is in second place. He also benefited from that. So the two drivers who started on the front row getting a little bit, as Eniket has retired from the race. What's happened to him?
Yeah,
he's binned it.
Oh, he's binned it, yeah.
After the back straight, I believe, he's binned it. The second DRS zone when DRS is enabled, so that Red Bull is a little bit out the way, so I'm not sure if we'll see a safety car. We have yellow flags. BSAS meanwhile is leading this race up 2 positions. Cobblers is up 4, he's another big gainer. Go Tony's up a couple, and so is Lewis. Sam's joined the session. Can he get back into his car? We can only hope. It's ghosting at the moment, so it doesn't look the most promising for him.
No, we'll have to see how he gets on, but BSAS, dream start for him. He's in the lead, and we know how amazing he can be when he's out front and with clear air. He can just focus on himself now and try and build that gap. Cliffy will be desperate to make progress quickly and to pass Lewis so that he can, hopefully for him, chase down BSAS at the front.
Just saw some lag there. I saw a car flying in the air, so I saw Sean fall down the order. I don't know what actually happened there. But there's yellow flags in sector 3 as BSAS sets the fastest lap. Of course he leads, so he's the first driver to cross the line. and Sophie is into the pit, so is Jor, so they both either got damage or gone for a strategy change. It'll be interesting to see what tyres they put on, but they're the only two to dive in so far.
I think I can see front wing damage on Sophie's car. I can't see Jor's, but she's got to be damaged to be put in this point in the race. They must be in contact either with each other or with the wall somewhere around the opening lap.
Yeah, Odems meanwhile looks to have kept it clean. So for him, we've got Bisas leading this race, being kept honest by Lewis, it has to be said, in the Ferrari. So Lewis is just over a second now behind the championship contender. So Cliffy is hanging on in third, 0.7 of a second. Cliffy's red is all over MLA. So not the best start for the Mercedes drivers here in Baku tonight.
Yeah, MLA dropping back a little bit. I know it's early days, but he's dropping back a little bit from Cliffy as well. And as you say, under pressure from behind. So be interesting to see what his pace is like when he settles down into this race a little bit further.
Yeah, sometimes it does just take a couple laps to get going and get into a rhythm, especially around a difficult track like this. But lots of drivers reporting that there is lag issues. Sean is just about to attack Cobblers, who is in the Force India, which isn't his designated car. But let's see what the Mercedes can do versus the Mercedes Force India. There definitely seems to be a lot of lag on my screen, which is really disappointing.
Yeah.
And I hope that
there's a lot of lag.
Yeah, I hope that doesn't affect this race too much. As Cobblers comes into the pits, so he has front wing damage.
He does. He's got a 5-second stop there as well for speeding in the pit lane by the look of it.
So just to make his race even worse, misery upon misery, but Cliffy it doesn't mind. He, although started on pole position, he can see Bisas, who is leading this race, has a bit of a gap to MLA. What did you make of that first corner? I know at the time you said MLA was entitled to have the corner. Do you think he should have left Cliffy a little bit more room though?
It's quite difficult to see in the heat at the moment, but I think from the initial launch it always looked like MLA had a good chance to just hold it down the inside there. I don't think he really pushed it too much. And he ended up running wide, Cliffy on the exit, but I think MLA was always going to run wide after being down the inside at that point.
Yeah, no, there is a bit of a gap after the curb before you meet the wall. So that is the track there, and I think from going so deep on the brakes, perhaps MLA, they had such a bad exit, and Bisas just came along and saw, thank you very much, Christmas has come early, with the Ferrari following him through. So Cliffy, meanwhile, is right on the back of the Ferrari. So down this back straight, what can we do here?
Yeah, Cliffy lining up a path. He's got the overspeed, and that looks like job done really easily indeed there. He's passed way before they reach the braking zone.
So he'll go about now chasing Bisas, which hasn't pulled his way as much as I'd expect.
No, he hasn't.
So perhaps this isn't Bisas' best track. Of course, he lost the win in Canada from yourselves, the stewards, but we won't go into that tonight. Cliffy was the major beneficiary from that. He took his tally of wins up to 4, I believe. So belated congratulations to him. But yeah, Enneke is out of this race. Apparently the lag has pushed him into the wall. So we'll wait to see what happens there, and perhaps we need to look at this lobby, because I know it had some issues with lag last week as well.
Yeah, it does look like maybe we need to try to host or something in the future. But MLA continuing to, well, he's going along okay, but he's getting almost literally pushed on the track here by Clifford's Red, who looks to have more pace definitely at this point in the race.
Yeah, this has definitely been a good race and qualifying session for Clifford's Red. The smallest of margins, a couple tenths, took him off pole position, so his pace is definitely there. And as you said, he looks to have the run on this Mercedes driver. This is going to be entertaining. He just clips the wall with his back wheel, gives it a little kiss, but the Mercedes of MLA is lagging all over the place on my screen. Odems meanwhile has come to join the party as well.
MLA does get a good exit out of that corner, which means that Clifford's Red is a little bit further back than he'd ideally want to be to be able to make a pass, but he is well in DRS lane obviously here. And let's see how he gets on. MLA goes to the inside, and Clifford's Red just runs to the back of him there. I think he expected MLA to move back towards the middle of the track, but he didn't. He just stayed on his line, and
wing damage.
Clumsy. Yeah.
Odems now gets by.
He should have backed out of that, I think. He didn't really have anywhere to go there. MLA had the inside line. I think he should have backed out of that, because that wing damage will hurt his race now from here.
Yeah, definitely. I have to agree with you. It was just a little bit clumsy right from the get-go in terms of picking their line in towards the braking zone. It is kind of like that sometimes at this track, because you just don't know, is a driver going to go inside, outside, and it's just a case of seeing what they do first, perhaps making their move, and then you make yours. But he's struggling with that car now. Yeah,
I think we'll see how much time he loses, but I think he's probably going to be a bit better just pitting at the end of this lap and getting a fresh set of tyres on and getting the wing damage fixed as soon as he can. Oh, and he's hit the wall again. He needs to back off a bit. He's now lost his front wing completely, is he now?
Yeah, no front wing at all, Jono, so he will be in at the end of this lap. This doesn't mean race over, of course. It means you could fit the medium tyre and still go to the end.
Yeah.
And with a safety car.
This corner.
Ooh, he makes it just about. If a safety car comes out, it's definitely feasible that you can get back into this race. James was right on the back of Sean, but seems to have dropped off in this final part of the sector. Our closest battle is now Odems on MLA, so the Haas driver keeping it clean, and we'll see what he can do. DRS is about to be activated. Seems to have good straight line speed here, does the Haas car.
Yeah, it does. He's obviously set it up well for that straight, compromised a bit for the middle part of the lap and the twisties, but you need that low wing to be able to make a pass and to be able to defend well on the straight, as Clifford's Red does now into the pits.
Yeah, Clifford's Red into the pits, so just quickly see which drivers have made a stop. Clifford's Red, Cobblers, Sophie and Jewel have all come into the pits, so they have made their actions very clear in terms of their strategy or what they've been forced into. But Odems is our closest battle. Lewis is holding on to the back of Cliffy, and Bisas is slowly, ever so slowly, extending that gap, and it'll be interesting to see who blinks first in terms of these top three when it comes to the pit stops and what tyre they choose to put on.
Yeah, well, deciding when to pit's going to be crucial. I think it's Cliffy's best chance. They're going to be equally matched on pace, so I think whoever blinks first gets the undercut. It could be do or die in terms of making the pass at that point, as Odems is now right up behind MLA, as you say, and looking quick.
Yeah, we've got consistent as well, might I add, Jono. He doesn't look too frisky. He looks like he's settled in the car, and he's ready for the long haul rather than the short-term gain. He is tucked up right behind that Mercedes, so perhaps that Mercedes does have an issue with its car or some sort of damage, because MLA did have the pacing quality, and it seems to have dropped off now a little bit. Here comes Odems.
Yeah, here he comes. What will he do this time? Will he do different to Clifford's Red? How will it go? Is MLA going to go defensive again? Oh, Odems just moved early there, which prevented MLA from going defensive. That was a good early move there, and decisive move. Can he break his breaking point? He does. And he should have the job done by the look of it. MLA just holding it on the outside, but he's backed out now, and Odems gains the position. Good move.
Yeah, he's going to have DRS now as well, so he'll be able to pull a little bit of gap in terms of this straight. But what can MLA do? Is he going to... No, he doesn't sling it down. So MLA just doesn't have the confidence in that Mercedes right now to get the job done on Odems, and now Odems will hopefully be able to drop that car and gain a bit of advantage and maybe join this battle for the podium.
Yeah, he's got a good bit of clear air now. He can push on and try and catch a Ferrari if he can, or close the gap as much as possible anyway before they pit. As it looks like the Ferrari, actually, Lewis is still right behind Cliffy. He's less than a second behind Cliffy, so he's holding on well to him actually at the moment. Yeah,
it looks settled into that car this week, more so than in Canada, where even in his own words he said he kind of took pole position by surprise. but no one ever complains about a personal best when it comes to qualifying. He's just, I think, gone over the second now, so I don't know if he's honest at 2.2 seconds, so the gap is still just a couple seconds, which is definitely raceable here.
Yeah, they're just trading lap times, as it looks like Cliffy's pitted actually.
So Cliffy's gone
blink.
Yeah, early stop. He'll be putting on the mediums, I believe, from here. Perhaps he could take the softs to the end, but I would think the mediums would be the safer option. Let's ride on board and see what he does.
Enters the box, yeah, it's a set of mediums. Is it? No, it's yeah, mediums.
Yeah.
As the game switches a few times for me.
It did the same thing for me. That's why I always tend to wait even until they come out the pits before I decide what tyre they're on. Is Sam is actually racing, so Sam got back into his car. And he's now up to 8th position. So, yeah, well done to him. We've got yellow flags in sector 3. Cobblers. He's binned it.
Yeah, and that's right in the middle of the circuit. In that final sector, he's hit the wall on the left-hand side.
We did speak about that earlier on, Jono. So easy to do.
Is that where it is?
Yeah. Yeah, just before the pit lane entry. So he's in the middle of the track.
Touch that wall. It's such a high-speed section with tyres wearing at that rate. It's so easy just to understeer and catch that wall. And yeah, that car is in a really dangerous position. You would surely expect a safety car here. We'll wait and see. Nope. But if ever there was a time for a safety car, that's surely it. Cliffy, of course, will be hoping and praying there isn't a safety car, having already pitted under racing conditions.
Yeah, Cliffy has come out in 7th place, by the way. He does have a bit of clear air, so he can get the hammer down on those medium tyres. Bisas still leads this race with Lewis in 2nd. Odems is now up to 3rd because of Cliffy pitting. MLA is a further 1.2 back in 4th. Sean now moves up to 5th. Bisas has reacted then. So let's keep a close eye on this. See and Odems and see what's going to happen here. See what tyres. Odems gets a 5-second stop and go penalty for speeding in the pit lane.
Oh, that's such a shame for Odems. He just tried to push it that little bit too much, and yeah, that 5-second penalty will be so frustrating for him.
They didn't actually do it there. He didn't serve it then.
It'll get added at the end of the race now then, I guess.
Yeah, if he doesn't make another stop.
You would expect them to serve it then, but
Sean and Sam pit as well, Jono. And Odems has actually gone onto the soft tyres, so he either feels he can take those to the end. The gap between Cliffy and Bisas is 1.2, so Cliffy did really gain there, and that's why Bisas had to come into the pits. He had to react to that.
Yeah, indeed, and Bisas has gone for the mediums as well, so Odem is doing something different on the softs, but can he get those to the end, and what will the drop off in pace be like if he can? And of course we've now got Lewis in the Ferrari, who is the only one of the front runners to still be out on those super softs.
Yeah, MLA is over 5 seconds back now, and James Slater is 10 further back on that. So they'll drop down the order when they pit, but they'll be able to come back later in the race. Cliffy is closing in. He's trying to get this gap down to a second before the DRS, and he's done just that so far. It's 9 tenths. This is going to get tasty. This is what we want to see. Cliffy versus Bisas. It's fantastic racing. Both of these drivers superbly quick on this game. Shout out to how quick they are and how consistent they are. Here we go. 0.6 of a second, Jono. Talk us through this one. Bisas went wide.
Yeah, he's well within the slipstream. He's got a good exit. And yeah, Bisas running low downforce, I think. Cliffy looks to be struggling to hang on as they exit that corner. And he actually looks like he might be a little bit too far back now to make the pass. What do you think?
0.6 of a second. If anything, it's going to pull him closer to perhaps, you know, the next lap or something.
Yeah, so he didn't
Lewis
gain
comes
anywhere
out
near as much as I thought he would at that point.
So Lewis has come out just behind these guys, not far at all, and he's on the softs.
He's on a compound softer. Yeah, I'm surprised.
How has he managed that?
We got this split.
Because Lewis was 3 seconds behind Bisas when he pitted, and he's only come out.
You
2 seconds behind. So
you can only assume this medium tyre isn't very quick, and that Lewis, we know he was matching pretty much Cliffy's times before they pitted. You can only imagine that those super softs were holding on enough for him to actually gain through the pit phase while these two are out on the mediums.
Cliffy is pushing Bisas along here in this middle sector. There is nowhere to pass. It's just a case of being able to stay as close to the car in front as you can. Obviously, you know, it is difficult when the car is there to not hit a wall, not hit him. And look at Lewis, he's loving this. He goes, I'm on the softer tyre, I'm on the fresher tyre, and here I am. Odems is closing in on this battle as well. MLA still yet to pit though.
Yeah, indeed, and Lewis is going to close onto these two now pretty quickly, I would think, on the softer compound tyre. He'll need to make the passes quickly if he can. Of course, Cliffy and Bisas are battling each other, but Lewis will be in a prime position on the softer compound tyre to make the pass, and then see how he goes later in the race when the medium tyre will, you'd assume, come to those two drivers later in the race.
Yeah, Cliffy's got a better exit this time, but James Slater has given Bisas a bit of slipstream, not DRS, but a little bit of slipstream. So he's going to have to, this is going to get even more exciting. We don't have the most craziest race in terms of battles, in terms of driver intervals between each other, but in terms of strategy, what different tyres drivers are on, what lap they're pitting, and that sort of thing, John, and this is proving to be a really interesting race.
Yeah, it is. As Sean sets the fastest lap of the race now on those soft tyres. It looks like there is quite a pace disparity between the mediums and the soft at this point in the race, and Bisas losing loads of time here behind James Slater. He'll be fretting under that helmet now. He will be, oh, you can see his frustration. He knows he needs to make the move. This is going to allow Lewis to close up on these two even quicker as I go on board with him now. He's almost on them already. And this could get very, very tasty now as we come onto the pit straight at the end of this lap.
Odems has left the session. He was having connection issues earlier, so hopefully he can get straight back in, not lose too much time. This is going to help MLA meanwhile. James gets such a poor exit. Bisas sails straight past him. And yeah, that's job done. Cliffy will perhaps be okay because he's going to pick up DRS from James here. And Bisas won't be able to get DRS now.
Yeah, you'd assume that Cliffy will make a comfortable pass on James as they exit this corner and onto the straight, but he's already losing time to Bisas. He's got a lift through here now behind James. He's got no choice. James also struggling with tyre wear. You'd assume he's going to be pitting probably at the end of this lap now. There's a bit of lag on my screen as well as Cliffy makes his way by, but yeah, Bisas a little bit of breathing space now, and maybe that's all he needs to fend off Cliffy for a little bit longer at least.
Yeah, that was for position, of course. James was legitimately in second.
Sorry, Nick. Lewis has hit the wall and damaged his wing, I believe, on the left-hand side. He's dropped back a long way and he's pit in. MLA goes through into third, and Lewis, looking so strong, but he's made contact with the wall there, and that's probably his chances of winning the race without a safety car at least over. Yeah,
it's such a shame for him. He made a mistake when leading in Canada, so perhaps the pressure is getting to him. Sam just came out just behind James there, so they have gone for the soft tyre, both of them, so they'll be going to the end. And yeah, Lewis is in the pits currently in 10th place. Clifford's Red still recovering from his early incident, oh, it looks on my screen Sam hit the wall, but I think that was lag. Odems is not back in his car yet.
No, he's not, and we were saying about MLA earlier, maybe not looking that quick here, but driving consistently and maybe safely has already led to him being in third position, and with Bisas and Cliffy battling really, really close on track, who knows, MLA could win this race yet just by being consistent and keeping it out of the wall.
Yeah, definitely. We have two retirees from this race, Cobblers and Eniket. Not a good season so far for Red Bull in terms of defending their constructors title in this tier, but Cliffy is 0.6 of a second behind Bisas. Odom still having those connection problems down in 5th position. What can Cliffy do? At least these two are providing us with some lap time entertaining battles. It's proper about pace now, Jono, and this is all about clean, consistent laps.
I don't know if there's a big wing disparity between the two, but Cliffy was about 5/10 back as they entered onto the straight, and he was 7/10 back by the braking zone into turn 1, so he's not able to make inroads on Bisas despite having DRS in that section of the track.
Yeah, I think something's happened to James Slater. No, as it's not. I'm not really sure what's happened. It says Odem on my screen is in the lead, which isn't the case, and it says James Slater's in last. So we've got another messed up timings. Hopefully it'll sort itself out after we finish this lap. Excuse me.
Such a shame for Odems, you have to say as well, because that was a mature drive from him up to that point. He'll be gutted that connection issues have hit his race when they did.
Yeah, we'd expect MLA to start closing that gap to these two front runners, being on the softer tyre and pitting a lot later than these guys. It'll be interesting to watch his times. Cliffy's all over the back of BSAS. 3/10, Jono.
Yeah, he is. He's closer than ever. Can he get the exit? He does. BSAS still gets a slightly better exit, but he's definitely having a tie. He's 4/10 behind now as they enter the straight. So we'll see how he manages this lap. But yeah, it's still, he really struggles to make any inroads into BSAS. It's actually still 4/10 and we're now halfway down the straight. He's going to struggle to pass him. That's the main passing point on the track. Again, 4/10 as they reach the braking zone. Yeah, he's not able to touch BSAS in that section.
No, he didn't gain anything at all there from the moment he came onto straight to the moment they went into the braking zone. So, yeah. Sean sets the fastest lap again. Cliffy's going to have to try something maybe a little different here. Maybe try and lung it down into the inside of the penultimate corner before that long straight. Not the fast left right-hander, but the last braking zone before the straight, I should say. Because look, he's all over him in this section.
Yeah, you can only assume he is running more wing, which probably helped him in qualifying as well. But it is hurting him down that straight in the race and making it really difficult to get close to BSAS.
Go Tony kindly gets out the way.
Yeah, that was good in there. MLA still 10.5 seconds behind. He's not making any inroads into these two despite being on a soft tyre. It certainly looks at the moment like it's between these two for the victory.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with you. Odems, I don't know if he's back in his car. He is back in his car, so Odems is back underway and driving again. He's got some work to do. That's cost him a couple positions. James Slater is ahead of him now as well.
Cliffy's so close to BSAS again as they enter the braking zone. But he loses from the minute they exit the corner. Initial traction just doesn't seem as good. And from there, he struggles. He loses out through these corners. The weight of the car in front causing him understeer, no doubt, through those corners. But again, yeah, he's nowhere near close enough to make a pass.
No, especially not with BSAS's straight line speed. This is going to be a battle to the end. I can't believe we're only on lap 15 out of 26, so Cliffy's got another 11 more chances at getting this job done. Perhaps he just needs to focus, do his braking nice and early into the last corner. Last braking point of this track, and then just try and nail the exit, because BSAS definitely has good traction.
As you say, he's so close on the way in. I think he needs to compromise his entry into the corner, but in order to straight line the exit and to get a better drive out the corner, because he's got no chance of making the move from the minute they leave the corner. BSAS is already gaining time on him.
Yeah, and then come this section, Cliffy's all over the back of him. Just seems to be able to carry more speed through the corners, so it would suggest that they are running different setups in terms of what they think is quickest for this track. I'm sure Cliffy's setup is probably quicker over a lap time, but he's tucked right under the back of Beeston.
Yeah, definitely. He's literally pushing around that middle sector, but there is just no way to pass there. It's just follow the car ahead. But again, as soon as we get to these quicker sections, start struggling to keep with BSAS.
Yeah, 4/10 as they come down to this braking zone. Look, BSAS goes so wide there to get such a good exit. Cliffy does look close now. This is the closest he's been, 0.3 of a second. I'm going to switch to on board with him and see if BSAS is able to pull away. He is. It's now up to 4.5 tenths.
Yeah, it's incredible difference when you think of the slipstream effect, which we know isn't as powerful in this game, but it still helps. And with DRS open as well at this point in the lap, it still gains barely anything.
Cliffy was running lean there, so perhaps he's got some fuel saving, but then so is BSAS, so not too sure. They both maybe have a bit of fuel.
Maybe just comfortable to follow at this point and save fuel, and then maybe he's confident of making the pass and attacking at the end.
Yeah, perhaps he thinks this race will come to him. I'm sure MLA is thinking the same thing, but he's only got it down half a second. As Odem sets the fastest lap of the race, he's probably in a do-or-die mood as he catches up to James in the Renault. Not the most exciting race, it has to be said, Jono, but to see two cars fighting for the lead this close for this many laps always gives us something to smile about, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, it does. It's super impressive from the front to trading great lap times, and yeah, just really excited to see how it ends up. I think we've got a car in the pit. Yeah, it's Joel by the look of it.
And Clifford's Red comes into the pits to join
him.
Yeah. So 12 runners left in this session. Clifford's Red and Go Tony. Sophie on her debut, just to give her a mention, is up to 8th position, so just behind Sam and ahead of Lewis.
Yeah, going solid.
Yellow flags in sector 1. 0.3 of a second here again with Cliffy and Bisas. We'll see if Cliffy can get the job done. He's gaining a little bit on the exit this time. From what it looks like to me, he's running rich now. So yeah, he is running rich. He goes to standard then to lean. So perhaps he just needs to tuck in behind, save a bit of fuel, and then unleash a couple of rich laps to maybe catch Bisas his fuel saving off guard.
Yeah, it's yeah, it'd be interesting to know what his tactics are behind the wheel there, because you know, with drivers you can think I'll wait for him to make a mistake, but we know from Bisas at Monaco he drove that race faultlessly and won it by a mile. So if you're waiting for a mistake from Bisas, it probably won't come, to be honest with you. I think Cliffy is going to have to force things at some point if he wants to win this race.
Yeah, I agree with you, John. I don't think Bisas is a man who makes many mistakes. As you said, he dominated Monaco, another street circuit, and he did win Canada provisionally. Obviously that was taking off of him, but that is another track with walls close in proximity. But I'm amazing how these guys can stay so close to each other through this castle section. It was something I was always nervous about, being too close to another car, because if they hit the wall, then there's nothing you can do about it.
Definitely, it's amazing being on the wall with Cliffy through that section. He's just millimetres away from the wall every single lap. He is able to confidently put the car millimetre perfect for 17 laps so far this race. It's really impressive to see.
0.4 of a second as they exit. I say the last corner. It isn't the last corner. It's the last braking corner on the track.
Corner. Yeah.
Cliffy's gaining. Cliffy's gaining this time.
Yeah,
this is
closer than
he
ever.
was under 4 tenths.
Once they get to this point though, it levels out, and then Bisas just holds it from here. He just maxes out in 8. You can see he's maxed out on the revs there, and there's no more to come.
Yes, that would be extremely frustrating for me if I was stuck behind a car for this many laps over such a long track. I bet he just wished there was somewhere else that he could try something. He's close here.
Yeah.
Bisas goes to the middle of the track, but as you say, Jono, there's just nothing Cliffy can do. That Williams has got its car set up for top speed, 0.2 of a second, but nothing that Cliffy can do.
No, I bet he's wishing right now that he ran just a little bit less wing when he finalised his setup before this race. That 1 or 2 clicks of wing extra that he may or may not be running on that car, you know, it could be the difference between coming first and second at the end of the race.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously he did take pole position, so as we see, Lewis gets a 5-second stop-go penalty. He comes into the pits for his 3rd stop of the day, so his race has gone from bad to worse, and perhaps that's showing just a little bit of inexperience, John, or those sorts of mistakes that he's made today.
Yeah, he's had really, really good pace, but he's made a couple of errors that have obviously pushed him back down the field. But you learn from it, especially at a track like this. You learn the hard way, but I'm sure he'll come back next time, and he'll be better than ever, and he won't make the same mistakes.
Clifford's Red, meanwhile, sets the fastest lap of the race. I just noticed there, Bisas does get closer to the wall into that last braking zone, and then he does hit the apex more. Brakes early, hits the apex more than what Cliffy did whilst I was riding on board with the Haas driver. We'll have a quick flick through everyone else, because it'd be nice to show some other cars. You've got the 2 Mercedes 3rd and 4th James Slater in 5th. He's doing a good job. Odems is trying to catch up with him after his disconnection in 6th position. Sam is running well in 7th after not being able to get in for qualifying or not for the start of this race, I'm afraid. Sophie is in 8th position on her debut, so she looks set to be scoring some points. Lewis, as we see, Lewis has hit the wall again. So, yeah, Lewis's wing is no more. That is unfortunate for him, but what can you do? He's going to have to come in for another pit.
Yeah, the Ferrari team seems to be jinxed slightly these last couple of races with incidents and damaged front wings.
Yep, Jaw is going to be beneficiary to this. When Lewis comes into the pits, he's going to gain a position, and so too is Clifford Red. So Go Tony being lapped so far this race, you have to say, is just putting in his own performance at the back of the field in 12th position. And oh, it's so close between these two front runners.
Yeah, it is. It's super close. Cliffy must be so frustrated. He's just literally, well, he's as close as you can possibly be without literally hitting the car in front, lap after lap. And he closes up into that braking zone there, but he's sort of braking so late that as they reach the apex, like you say, B-Staff is on a better line to exit the corner. I think Cliffy would definitely be better to compromise the entry of that corner.
Yeah, he's lost a 10.5 just through those. Not even through those two fast left right-handers, just on the exit of it.
Yeah.
So, fantastic to see these guys racing. If you are interested in joining F1 TS Hub, head over to the website www.f1tshub.com. You can join our waiting list. It's at its lowest that it's been for a while, so there's only a couple of drivers waiting for a seat. So if you want to get your name down today or this week is the chance. This is some fantastic racing, as I've said. Me and Jono are impressed with these boys who are fighting for the lead. Cliffy wants this so bad, he just can't find a way past that. Williams is so wide.
It is, and yeah, that position that he lost off the line into turn 1, you know, he'll be ruining that now. He could be so much further down the road in his mind. He'll be thinking if he'd have nailed that. But he's got a chance to make amends here, and 6 laps left to make something happen. Will he get desperate in the last couple of laps? Will he go for something in a different position on the track? It looks at the moment like it will be his only chance, but watching them on board, there is no other chance around the lap. B-Staff is putting his car in the right places at every point, and there hasn't even been a half chance for Cliffy to go for at the moment. It's
been a masterclass in how to defend, you have to say. Look how close Cliffy is.
That was a better exit from Cliffy. Slightly wider sweep into the corner that time, and he did get a good exit. He matched B-Staff on the exit. You can see the understeer he gets there in the slipstream, but he's closer than ever, 2 tenths.
Yeah, what can he do here?
Let's see what he can do. It's 3 tenths now. He's actually losing out before DRS is opened on pure speed.
Yeah, it gets slightly back down under 3 tenths, but you're right, Jono. That understeer at the final part of those fast corners just hurts him so much, and then B-Staff
just shrugs off the speed.
Yeah, so Cliffy's going to have to try something else here. He's looked at the back of that Williams driver for long enough. He's probably thinking. MLA, meanwhile, has had a bit of a disappointing race in terms of his pace. He's still only 8 seconds off, which with these two battling, you'd think he'd be able to, as Go Tony retires from the race. So into the pits, he's binned it into the pits, so the third driver at F1 TS Hub today to bin it in the pits. Is he going to swing into his garage? I've never seen this before. He is. He's going to have a pit stop whilst being retired, so
yeah,
well done, Codemasters. What an absolute job you've done with this one. Is he just going to sit there?
Are they going to not release him? It looks like they won't release him.
Oh, penalty, I think.
Released him.
Oh, and now he's just...
And now he's on track with 3 wheels.
So...
yeah.
Virtual safety car, Jono.
Virtual, yeah, virtual. Yeah, bit of a rest for B-Staff and Cliffy battling at the front here. Give Cliffy a bit of a breather to maybe have a quick think about how he might go about this final attack. He'll have 5 laps left to do it when they go back to full racing speed.
And I'll tell you what, Jono, if a virtual safety car or safety car hurts anyone in terms of all the tracks on the calendar, You do not want the virtual safety car to come in that last sector, because you know the car behind is going to get such a slipstream advantage, because if you're not able to use your traction, you know, and stuff like Bisas was using, Clifford's Red comes into the pits. Who else is going to come in? And Lewis comes in under this virtual safety car. We only have 11 runners left in this session. Cliffy's right over the back, so he's going to wait for this virtual safety car to come in. Hope it's come in now. It's over already. Cliffy's right on the back. What can he do here?
Yeah.
Your DRS is open.
This is a chance for a Bisas has gone to the inside.
Clifford's Red's retired.
He has.
He's binned it in the pit lane. Coming into his box, apparently. So, Cliffy is all over. What can he do into this braking zone? Nothing. Absolutely nothing is the answer.
He weathered that there. That was a half chance, but Bisas went to the inside, and Cliffy, he had nowhere to go. He had to just follow him round.
So, run through the order. Bisas is in first. 2 tenths behind is Cliffy, and all over the back of Williams. He has been ever since about lap 7 or 8, I believe, Jono. Slightly disadvantaged when James Slater, they caught up to him, but he got the back down, and here he is battling along these two championship contenders. MLA is in third, having a quiet race. Here comes Cliffy. He's really close now. He's pushing the Williams driver.
He did. He went defensive there, Bisas, but Cliffy little locked up into the corner, which again slightly compromised the exit. But he is close. It's less than 3 tenths. Let's see how he gets on this time.
They both have very similar fuel in terms of what they have left. They're both running rich right now. So here comes Cliffy. That Williams is just pulling away still.
Yeah. It's not going to happen there unless Bisas actually messes up the exit, which he hasn't done so far and doesn't look like doing. It won't happen there. Cliffy will have to find another place.
So this is a second DRS zone, but it doesn't seem to do much in terms of overtaking today. But Bisas will be hoping that it doesn't continue to do that, as he looks like he touched the wall there actually, Jono. I think he did touch the wall on the outside with his right hand. He gave a little kiss with his wheels.
Shows he's pushing hard.
Yeah, he is pushing hard.
Yeah. So
Bisas then runs rich out of this corner. Cliffy keeps it in lean. So Bisas definitely feeling the pressure. He's got to be sweating under that crash helmet.
What did you say Bisas' fuel situation is like? Has he got fuel in hand?
They both have about a quarter of a lap of fuel. They have the exact same. 0.29.
If I was Bisas, I think I would be saving, running lean as much as I can in that middle sector, because although Cliff is quicker, there is no way through. I think you want all the rich running you can get at this point in the track.
Cliffy definitely broke earlier there and focused on his exit.
He did.
So will this help him? We've been talking about it for a while. Will it actually end up helping him? MLA meanwhile 7.6, not going to be enough. But you have to feel like the position that these two are in now is how they're going to finish.
Yeah, I think so. It looks like Cliff is powerless to do anything unless there is some incident or some small mistake from Bisas. Yeah, MLA, as you say, he's focused a little bit on these guys, 7.7 seconds, and even if it's a slightly unspectacular drive from him, I'm sure he'll be delighted if he can bring it home in a podium position.
Yeah, definitely, and it is worth mentioning that I think the slipstream, perhaps these guys are just pulling each other along down that straight. Perhaps maybe a little bit quicker as Lewis sets the fastest lap of the race. He's currently in 10th position. We have 4 drivers to retire from this race. Let's see what these final few laps can do. We are on lap 24 out of 26. They are pushing to the limit as Sophie moves ahead of Sam, I believe, into 7th place on her debut. So let's have a quick switch over to see where that happened. That happened into turn 1. We missed that. We should have caught that, but we'll catch the end of it and see whether it continues. So Sam does get a good exit. Sophie goes slightly deep.
We've got a battle developing as well between Odems and James Slater, I believe. Are they racing for position? I can see Odems
They are. The graphic says they're 2 seconds. So
2 seconds.
Lewis has just got a penalty for ignoring blue flags.
Yeah, he's in between. He's ahead of Odems at the moment, and behind James Slater. So I presume he didn't move over in time. And there's Odems. Well, I don't know if that's lag. It's kind of sideways there on my screen, but I think it was lag.
He has dropped back slightly, so...
Yeah, he has. He may have been sideways.
Lewis looks set to unlap himself here. Of course, he's on brand new fresh tyres, so he is pushing, and he is probably quicker than these guys at this stage of the race. So let's see what he can do. He's going to want to unlap himself past this Renault. Meanwhile, Cliffy's gap is up to half a second as they start their penultimate lap. Here comes Lewis. I'm sure James won't fight him too hard. He's more focused on keeping Odems behind.
Yeah, I think Odems did make a few errors in that final set, though. He has dropped back a little bit now from James. He's pushing super hard. You can see he's up against the walls everywhere. He's absolutely giving everything to try and get that fifth position back, but he's running out of laps to do it now. We're on lap 25 or 26.
Yes, penultimate lap. We are coming into the castle section for the second to last time for the leaders. They have done an exceptional job keeping it out the wall in this race, and not just that, but just keeping it together in terms of their cars. They've literally been stuck like glue since their first round of pit stops. As Sam comes into the pits now, that's a really late stop for him.
Yeah, there must be some sort of damage or something on that car, I assume. But like you say, the front two is super impressive from Beefstaff not to make any mistakes so far, and from Cliffy to be able to do the same. I know from experience that driving behind somebody like this lap after lap, it's just distracting. You can't drive your normal race. It puts you off the braking points, and to drive virtually pushing Beefstaff along for most of the race, as he has, it's just great to see.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, these guys are absolutely pushing to the limit, and as you said, Jono, to follow a car for this many laps, it is impressive from Cliffy, and a masterclass by Beefstaff of how to defend. He set his car up perfectly for this race, sacrificed a bit in qualifying. He didn't get on the front row, so that's exactly why it's appearing right now. He goes defensive into this corner. Cliffy is... Oh, the Cliffy touches him there, I believe.
He did. And has Cliffy got wing damage on the left-hand side?
Let's have a quick look. He does have wing damage. I think that's from that, just what happened just now. So
it may well have been.
What we just spoke about just came true for Cliffy. It is near impossible to be able to not touch the car in front when you're running that many laps close to him. He touched the wall there as well, so be careful this castle section, lack of front end grip. You never know, that might give him a little bit more straight line speed, Jono.
Yeah, you never know. I think if I was him now, I'd be just keep bringing it home in second place without wing damage. The last thing I want to do now is bin it in the last sector of the lap for the sake of that little bit of wing damage that you picked up there at the end.
Here we are, final time braking on this track.
With the wing damage,
Cliffy's run very deep. Frustration from Cliffy, you have to say. He's going to be frustrated under that crash helmet when he crosses the line. He likes finishing second, we know, and here he comes across the line. Beefstaff, though, is about to win this race. What an absolute stellar drive from the Williams driver. He wins in Baku. Cliffy comes home in second. I got stuck on board with him. MLA is looking likely to come home in third, with his teammate trailing behind in fourth. James Slater, if he can hold, I think he is going to hold Odems off. It's a bit of a gap.
Actually hit the wall there, so he's dropped back from James now. He will take fifth. Odems hit the wall on his favourite curve. It looked like he lost it on the exit, and he got wing damage, so he brings it home in sixth.
So Odems will bring it home in sixth. Sophie on her debut will bring it home in seventh. So well done to her.
You have to say, tough track and kept out of trouble. And seventh, good points for the first race at TSN.
Yeah, Sam in eighth. He didn't think he'd be able to participate in this race after he got disconnected, I'm sure. So well done to him for scoring some points for Force India. Of course, his teammate isn't here today. Jaw is in ninth position, and Lewis will cross the line in 10th. Disappointing race for him. You have to say he'll be the driver who walks away the most frustrated from this one.
what could have been for Lewis. It was, you know, he's battling for the win for the first stage of the race, and then, you know, lapped by Odems towards the end, despite Odem's disconnections. So yeah, it was a tale of two halves for him. Once he made that one mistake, he made a couple to follow on with it, and yeah, he'll be super frustrated because he had good pace for sure.
Definitely not the most exciting for us, Jono, but the front two sure kept it on track and kept it entertaining, and gave us something to talk about, that's for sure. We will just get you confirmation of the results. Hello to everyone watching. Gary just putting that Bisas and Cliffy masterclass. I think you're spot on there, Gaza. Absolutely fantastic driving from both of them. We will wait for the podium celebrations, where we will get to see some champagne.
Yeah, you have to see all three drivers thoroughly deserve that podium as well. They all drove almost faultless races, and yeah, it's one of the toughest tracks in the calendar to even get to the end of, let alone to win or be on the podium. So they'll all be chuffed.
Yeah, fantastic. So well done to all those drivers. And confirmation of the results. We can see Bisas, of course, won the race. Cliffy is in second. MLA third. His teammate Sean in fourth. Fifth will be James. Sixth will be Odems after his disconnection. He got back in. Seventh will be Sophie. Eighth will be Sam. Joel scored some points for Red Bull in ninth. Lewis, disappointing day for him. He finishes a lap down with a few penalties, to say the least. We've got the Toro Rosso Clifford Red in 11th. The Toro Rosso of Go Tony in 12th. Or one or the other way around, I'm not too sure. We've got the other Force India, which I believe was Cobblers, who should have been in the Renault. The Renault, yes, in 13th. Yes. And then you've got Enika in the Red Bull, who finishes in 14th position. So there you have it. That is our Pinnacle tier at 9 PM. We will be back next week at 9 PM for the Pinnacle tier. We will be racing for round 9 with all the points up for grabs again. Wishing all the best to Alan, who was taken ill just before commentary tonight, so we hope he feels better before the next race. Jono, just before we go, Driver of the Day nominations, which will go live on Twitter tomorrow. Who would get your vote?
Oh, it's a tough one, but you'd have to say Bisas and Cliffy have got to be in there, and yeah, I'd have to have a bit of a look to decide on the third one, but Bisas and Cliffy were a league apart from the rest of the pack today, I think.
There you have it. The multi-world champion have spoken on who has impressed him, so thank you for joining us, Jono. Thank you for everyone watching. Make sure you give us a like and a follow on Twitter. Give us a subscribe on our YouTube channel for all live races, F1TS Hub on a Friday night. And that's it from me, Nick. I'll be here next week for the Pinnacle tier at 9 PM and the Podium tier just before that at 7 PM. Have a good night, guys, and I look forward to commentating on next week.